everybody and say, okay, I've been through so many cycles of collective bargaining, and often things tend to get done at the 11th hour.
Listen, he messed this all the way up, and we are almost at the 11th hour, and I'm going to set a drop dead date soon for y'all to either have this done or we move on.
Buckle up, because this opening doesn't ease you in. It slams down like a courtroom gavel demanding silence. From the very first seconds, the narrator injects urgency into the atmosphere, making it clear this isn't casual sports chatter. This is authority entering the room. We're immediately told that Adam Silver steps in, not as a background executive, but as the ultimate decision maker, the stabilizing force of an empire that refuses to wobble. The tone pivots instantly from discussion to declaration. What might have been framed as negotiation now feels like escalation. This isn't portrayed as two sides working toward compromise. It's framed as a warning shot across the bow, controlled, deliberate, unmistakable. The language suggests something historic is unfolding, something irreversible if mishandled. The stakes are described in sweeping terms: legacy, authority, financial consequence. And just like that, the viewer isn't watching a debate anymore. They're witnessing a power struggle that feels larger than the league itself. The hook is psychological. By the end of this opening stretch, the message is clear: someone holds power, and someone else is about to test it.
What would be most productive?
See, they asked him, Brianna Stewart, and said, we love to sit down with Adam. We love for him to be at the table. He said, man, I ain't sitting down at the table with y'all.
Now the pressure cooker begins to hiss louder. The narrative slows down just enough to dissect the timeline piece by piece, making every deadline feel suffocating. The calendar isn't just a schedule anymore, it becomes a ticking device. The spotlight turns toward the Women's National Basketball Association calendar, transforming routine league logistics into high-stakes leverage. Drafts hang in limbo. Free agency stalls in uncertainty. Training camps hover in suspension. Without a deal, everything freezes, and that freeze becomes the real antagonist of the story. Time isn't neutral here. Time is pressure. The narration subtly frames the union as boxed in by the clock. Every passing day chips away at bargaining strength. Momentum, once a weapon, begins to look like a liability. You can almost hear the seconds ticking behind the commentary. And with every tick, the stakes tighten. This segment isn't loud, it's suffocating. The message is clear: delay isn't strategy. Delay is erosion.
There's momentum in terms of the amazing amount of progress we've seen in women's basketball.
The amazing amount of progress that Caitlin Clark has brought to this league. That's what you're blowing. Adam Silver sees it, man. He see what.
Now the tone shifts into something more strategic, almost chess-like. The board is laid out. The players are identified. We're told that Brianna Stewart and leadership sought direct engagement. They wanted presence. Dialogue. A face-to-face moment that signals equality. But Adam Silver remains behind the curtain. And that absence becomes symbolic. Because in power dynamics, who shows up, and who doesn't, speaks volumes. Authority, in this framing, doesn't pursue. Authority summons. The narrative paints this not as avoidance, but as calculated distance. A reminder of hierarchy. A reinforcement of who ultimately steers the machinery. The balance of power suddenly feels tilted. One side seeks conversation. The other side projects inevitability. And in that imbalance, tension sharpens. It stops being about requests and starts being about structure. This isn't confrontation. It's dominance expressed through restraint.
I've been through so many cycles of collective bargaining, and often things tend to get done at the 11th hour. We're getting awfully close to the 11th hour now when it comes to bargaining. To set a drop dead date, but I will say, as I look at the calendar and the amount that we need to get done, really over the next 2 months.
Quoted as saying, I'm not ready to set a drop dead date. What I love to accomplish is putting pressure on everybody. That's NBA Commissioner Adam Silver on W.
Now the focus narrows, and the motive becomes unmistakable. The spotlight swings decisively toward Caitlin Clark. She's framed not just as a player, but as the ignition switch of a growing movement. Viewership spikes. Revenue climbs. Cultural momentum surges. And the commentary ties that surge to one central figure. Suddenly, the conversation shifts from labor dispute to brand protection. If momentum is fragile, then disruption becomes dangerous. A strike no longer sounds political, it sounds catastrophic. Momentum is described like glass, once shattered, nearly impossible to restore. Lose national visibility, and casual fans drift away. Lose broadcast rhythm, and sponsors hesitate. Lose momentum, and growth stalls. The stakes elevate from negotiation to survival. It's no longer about percentages and policy. It's about protecting a rare window of opportunity that may not open twice. And the implication lands heavy: timing is everything, and timing may be running out.
To the WNBA about the latest CBA negotiations. This is a three-parter, folks. A three-parter. Roses are red, violets are blue. We'd love a proposal that values players too.
Now we enter the climax, where warning transforms into verdict. The tone hardens. The language becomes definitive. The league is framed as standing at a forked road. One direction promises prosperity, expansion, and stability. The other signals shutdown, regret, and financial recoil. The authority of the NBA looms large over the decision. In this framing, final say doesn't feel negotiable, it feels inevitable. This segment doesn't speculate. It prophesies. It suggests that history will remember this crossroads. That one decision determines not just a season, but trajectory. The fork in the road becomes symbolic: peace or paralysis. Progress or pause. Growth or gamble. And by the final moments, the message hits like a closing argument: decide now. Choose wisely. Or risk losing everything you just built. The narrative doesn't whisper, it concludes. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.